Hi, and Merry Christmas, if that's something you celebrate at this time of year or any other, and if you don't, then just hi. Um, in watching some of the more seasonal films that I hadn't seen before, having earlier in the week watched the original 1974 version of Black Christmas again, and there is a uh, podcast on that, which you can find a link for in the description. I'd previously seen the 2006 remake, and now I watched the 2019 remake, co-written and directed by Sophia Takal. Assume that's the correct pronunciation. It takes the very basic premise of the original film of sorority girls in a college just before Christmas being stalked and murdered by mysterious killers, or mysterious killers singular, and then just throws that out of the window in favor of something totally unrelated. In this version, the women in the sorority are part of this university where there is a lecturer teaching them about some undefined subject, but that men are superior to women, and even a woman is saying that this is the case. Although he's quoting Camille Paglia, who is the most misogynist of feminists, and really shouldn't be called a feminist by any reasonable description. Um, and he's played by Cary Elwes with a silly, over-the-top English accent, and he's so obviously the villain of the film that I thought there was going to be a twist that it wasn't him. Um, but girls are going missing. They're being caught and killed by hooded figures wearing masks. And the film develops very boringly, but it has a through line of examining rape culture and misogyny in university. This is obviously a very serious subject and should be dealt with very seriously, not in the context of a crappy in name only remake, because Takal seems much more interested in dealing with that and saying, oh, this is bad and something needs to be done about this, which is absolutely right, than in actually making a movie. Wouldn't she be better off making a documentary on the matter? Something that wouldn't just misrepresent itself as a horror movie when it's actually a polemic about something else. The film had terrible reviews and terrible box office when it came out. I think because it just feels dishonest. It's about something totally different from what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a remake of Black Christmas, the original film of which does have a very strong feminist, anti misogynist subtext, which this just yells in the viewer's face because Takal seems to have um, so little confidence in her own ability as a filmmaker to actually weave this into the script itself in a way that the audience can absorb it and come to the conclusions for themselves, rather than just have it yelled at them. Um, it turns out that the various sort of figures are part of a cult uh, created and perpetrated by the founder of the college and now led by the Cary Elwes figure. But there's also mind control involving a weird black goo that's exuded from the bust of the university's founder. So there's this sudden supernatural element that arrives 20 minutes from the end of the movie and doesn't really make any sense, because if everyone's being mind controlled to be misogynist, doesn't that undermine the point that you're trying to make? Wouldn't it make more sense if they were just creating a cult to justify their own misogyny? Wouldn't that have more impact rather than saying, oh, it's because of evil goo from a 300-year-old woman hater? It's silly. And when it's silly, it's undermining the point that you're trying to make. And I don't know what the point you're trying to make is, other than rape culture exists and something needs to be done about it, which is absolutely right, but this is not the place to do it. The place to do it is a serious documentary or a serious drama, not the remake of Black Christmas, which did exactly what you're trying to do better 50 years ago. So the result is that the film is quite bad. um, it was made in midsummer, well, midsummer northern hemisphere. It was made midwinter in New Zealand so that it could be rushed into production and be ready in time for a Christmas release for winter in the northern hemisphere. Um, but the performances are thin at best. Characterization is minimal, aside from some characters have been sexually abused and sexually assaulted. That seems to be the limit of their characterization, which is not great, I don't think. Um, the photography is fine. The editing is quite bad. There's a weird running element where every time someone looks at the time and looks at their phone, it's exactly on the hour, which I thought was just either very lazy or a joke that doesn't work. Um, it's it's really a shambling joke of a movie. The 2006 remake is completely terrible for different reasons because that's trying to be a straight horror movie and doesn't work. This is trying to be a social horror, I think, in the manner of Get Out or Us. But the difference is that Jordan Peele is actually really good at his job. He's a really good storyteller and really good filmmaker, and Sophia Takal is not. So as a result, it seems almost embarrassing that a man made this film 50 years earlier and did what she's trying to do a lot better than she's trying now, even though she's yelling about the awfulness of misogyny in university rather than weaving it into the story so that you figure it out for yourself. As I say, she has no confidence in her ability as a filmmaker. She doesn't even have any confidence in the audience either. And as a result, I felt that this film was fairly insulting to the audience's intelligence.